Anybody wishing to speak? No. Item number 2 is the minutes from July 8th, 2019 meeting.
Motion to approve the minutes of the meeting.
There was a motion, seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? So voted. Motion carries.
Mr. President,
Yes.
Could we take number 5 out of order, seeing that the other party's not here?
We can. So is Glenn coming? Okay. So I don't see the bill inspector here. Do you want to still take it out
Oh,
of
okay.
order?
You were scheduled to come, Bill Inspector? All right, well,
Chief, what are you here for? Jay-Z?
Yeah, that's it, Jay-Z,
Okay.
969 South Main Street.
when I
You wanna
check,
recess?
okay, who's talking?
You want to recess?
Yeah.
Okay, we'll take
Motion
a
in recess.
5-minute recess.
5 minutes
Yep.
recess.
Committee will now come back into order at 5:30. So do you want us to just continue down with item 3, or do you want to take 5 out?
No, let's get 5 out of the way now.
Okay, before I forget. Pursuant to the open meeting law, any person may make an audio or video recording of this public meeting or may transmit the meeting through any medium. Attendees are therefore advised that such recordings or transmissions are being made, whether perceived or unperceived by those present, and are deemed acknowledgeable and permissible. I apologize if I have to do that. So, I'm sorry, how do you want to do it?
Take number 5 out of order?
Okay, so we're going to take item number 5 out of order. This is an application for a structure over a public way. The Pink Bean Coffee, 85 Purchase Street, requesting tables and chairs on the sidewalk from April to November 1st. Was referred to this committee on September 10th, 2019. I'd ask that the building inspector and folks from the Pink Bean, if they want to come down. Sorry. The chief was going to join us, too. So if you can just state your name and address for the record.
My name's Bonnie Souza, and my home address,
Yes.
55 Church Street, Somerset, and I'm with the Pink Bean.
Sandra Souza, same address, 55 Church Street in Somerset, Mass.
So motion to waive the rules
Motion to waive the rules?
was made and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, opposed, so voted. Motion carries. Mr. Hathaway, can you just, I think the application process before us is pretty straightforward, so that, I guess, requesting some chairs and tables outside the Pink Bean on Purchase Street. So can you tell us a little bit about why, I think you recommended denial?
I did. The fact of the matter is that the sidewalk is a little narrow over there, and if you were to restrict mobility for handicap accessibility in the area, in front of the store only, the restaurant only, could be a hindrance, and we may get complaints. And that's why it was denied, due to the fact that the sidewalk is not wide enough for tables and chairs, along with a wheelchair accessibility.
Okay, so it becomes an ADA
Yes,
concern.
yes.
Do you folks want to speak a little bit more to that, or?
Sure, I mean, I spoke, did I speak with you, Glenn? Did I
No,
sp-
I think you spoke with the police department.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so we had always had tables and chairs out there. I actually never even knew that we needed a permit to have them. So probably for 3 years, we had them out there, unbeknownst to us that was not okay. So a detective came down and asked us to remove them, which we did immediately. So I understand if it's not ADA, I had no issues with that, but then the council called and said that we could come here and, ask for them to be put out. So it's just nice to have them out for customers, and I thought once, the sidewalks were redone, that area specifically, that they'd be accommodating for tables and chairs outside of the restaurant. Our tables are 20 inches in width, 24 in length. The chairs don't exceed the perimeter of the table. And we've never had any issues in the 3 years that they were out. So, if they can be, great. If they can't be, I understand. I think it lends to the city to have them out because it's a nice look. Customers like being able to sit outside. I haven't noticed any, or we haven't had any complaints of hindrance of people going by. So, I mean, that's all I can speak to that. If we can have them out, great. If we can't, I understand. It's a little bit of a shame, but I mean, I get it.
So, Ms. Hathaway, can I just ask, in terms of chairs and tables, is there any style chair or table that could fit out there, or even if it's just chairs, would that, from a code standpoint?
I have no restrictions on the chairs being there. It's more so the police department receiving the calls for people that can't get by.
Yep.
Be honest with you, I've never received a phone call or a complaint in regards to accessibility in the area. I wasn't aware there was chairs out there until it was brought to my attention through a complaint somewhere else. And that's what prompted us to come in here today. There's been no complaints to my knowledge for this location through the building department, maybe through the police department, but not through the building department. But this is the result of complaints elsewhere in the city, having chairs and tables out, and accessibility was not there.
Okay. But can you still have the accessibility if you were just to put chairs out and maybe not a table if they were against the building itself?
I've never formally measured the sidewalk over there, but I believe it's probably a less than 40-inch or 48-inch sidewalk. It appears to be narrow. If we could, say, restrict the size of the table and the chairs off the building, and you still had ample room, we could probably look at that. But I don't want to mix the locations up, but if there are trees, light poles, or meters in the area in front of this, which was a problem in the other location. So those are the obstacles that people are getting around that they can't get around through a public way.
Okay. So I for one, don't want to obviously impede any ADA passability. So if you could just, I think from my standpoint, and I'll let Council Pelletier speak on this, but maybe if we can potentially work with the business to see if there might be some options with types of chairs that could be out there, and maybe they're not tables, as long as it doesn't impede the ADA requirement.
We can check that. Sure, absolutely.
Yeah, we'd actually, that'd be fine. We could put like a bench seat up against the back of the building with no table in front, which would be fine.
So if we can just check that out before we.
Absolutely.
And if Council Pelletier isn't
Yeah,
agreement with that.
how many tables do you have out there? before?
Just two,
Just two?
Yeah.
And you never had a complaint in 3 years?
never.
Now,
I wasn't even sure why
yeah.
a detective came down.
Now, is this in violation ADA, what she's doing?
Yes.
It is.
If it's obstructing the way, yes. It's actually, it's a city ordinance. You can't put anything in front in a public way.
Yeah.
So that's why she comes before the council, or they need to
Yeah.
come before the council for approval.
What size were the tables?
They were 20 inches wide by 24 long.
20 inches by 24. That's 2 feet. And,
Almost, so
Yeah.
1.5-ish to,
supposing she would cut it down to 3 feet by 3 feet?
At the request of Councilor Candine, I will be more than happy to go over there and measure the tables
Yeah.
and see what we have left. If we can oblige, then we'll let the council know.
Because you can always make a special top for that chassis that holds the table up. And if you just had to, you want them there, if you cut down a foot here or 8 inches there, it may pass. If not, then if you want to put a bench there, probably could do that
Honestly,
as
we'd be
well.
fine with a bench. And a bench, I don't think would come out more than 12 inches, which
Yeah.
would still give the 36.
Well, I guess you would have to go down there and check it out.
Correct.
If-
But they still need approval from the police department on this matter, because it is in a public way, along with the council, so,
Well, I think I'd like to see you decide with them
sure.
what they would like, and you could bring it to the police department to see if they agree. If not, then we're not gonna break any laws with the ADA. We don't want it. I'm sure you're not gonna lose your business for two tables, but it's nice if they wanna sit outside,
Sure.
have a drink, or whatever you're serving. Soup and cookies or something, no? So, if, I think that's the way to go. He can check it out, talk to them, and maybe come up with some solution.
So you want to do that, motion to table?
Yeah. I make a motion to table it and have the bill inspector go out and try to get some idea of what's going on, what can be put there, ADA, that will pass.
Okay.
That's a motion.
Motion was made, seconded by myself. Any further discussion? All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So voted, motion carries. All right, thank you.
See you tomorrow.
Thank you,
Oh,
guys.
tomorrow, he's fast. He's fast. You must want a sandwich or something. Oh, I'm only
He's
kidding.
going to get his coffee.
Oh, you're getting a coffee.
Item number 3 is an order for JZ Express, Inc. for the renewal of an auto body. I know the agenda reads an auto repair shop, but it's an auto body shop license located at 969 South Main Street. This item was referred to the Committee on Regulations on September 10th, 2019.
Big guns tonight. You have big guns.
Wait till you get the bill.
Let me see. You got 'em?
Okay, so if we could just go around the table, and if you can just say your name and address for the record.
Zabak, L. Zabak, 65 Little Neck Ave, Swansea, Mass.
Suhad Saliba, 1369 Vine Street, Somerset, Mass.
Attorney William Flanagan, 60 Rock Street, Fall River, Mass. Counsel for JZ Express, doing business at 969 South Main Street.
Nancy Carrera, 221 Osborne Street, Fall River, Mass.
Janice Maderas, 221 Osborne Street, Fall River, Mass.
Motion made to waive the rules.
Motion was made to waive the rules. That's seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, so voted, motion carries. Who wants to lead us off on the discussion? Do you want to do it?
Well, I could start. Look, to be honest with you, I have nothing but major problems with you guys, really. I've been there at least 10 or 12 times because of the smell. I'll be having supper, Nancy would call me up, we have a problem. I go down, check it out, sure, there's a problem. The odor's there. A couple of days later, 2-3 days, it's the same thing. I go back and forth and back and forth, and we're not getting anywhere. The other inspector that went down and had everything pretty well, I don't think it was figured out, but somehow he don't work here anymore. And I don't know what the reason is for it, and it really don't make difference to me. But he had all the paperwork of all the violations that occurred at your place, the time, day, and everything else. I don't know if there's a file that he had with all the violations that you guys got. All we want in that area and these people in the neighborhood is to make sure they don't have that smell around supper time. And you guys stated yourself last time that you're open on Sundays for emergency only. How can you have an emergency at a body shop that you're gonna open on a Sunday? It sounds crazy. I mean, Sunday's a day of rest for everybody. Nobody should have to smell the odors that you guys are emitting out there. And I guess there's no time, hours of operation that you have now on spraying cars, am I right?
Currently, there's no license time, correct?
Okay, so if anything, it comes out of this tonight, other than, I mean, I don't want to put you out of business. I mean, you went there and you done what you had to do. Now, did you set that up before you got the license?
We were issued the license.
And
after-
then,
Yes.
and then you moved everything
No,
out?
then they complained after the license was issued. We had the license after we spent.
Yeah,
over
you didn't spend the money first, then go for the license?
Well, it was in the same time. We got the license, we already spent the money. Was already pre-ordered and we have it.
Well, it's different if you, it's different if you told me, listen, we set it up and then we went for the license.
No, you can't do that. No, we don't do that.
You didn't do that?
No,
No, in
We got
fact,
the license, then we sell.
yes.
the Environmental Protection Agency has been out to the site to also monitor the odors and emissions out there. And according to federal standards, it's passed federal testing. The building inspector or the building department does not have the technology that the federal government has to monitor odors and to monitor levels of gases, whatever's emitted from the body shop. They were going to start a nose test, which I agree, that sometimes you spray a car, you can get some odor of paint in the air. I'll defer to the owners of when the EPA was out there, but if they have that paperwork, I believe a copy was forwarded to the law department at some point, maybe a year ago, regarding the EPA and what they did out there for the federal testing.
All right, some time ago, you had stated that, well, it's gonna be a year and a half, and we're gonna go to water-based paint, and you won't smell anything. Now, what happened to that?
It costs too much money to do the water base. If everybody does, then the paint, it's regulated by the government, but not by us. If they take they
The
keep
state was gonna take that,
away.
everybody to switch to water base. They had a problem with the color match, and they kinda still on hold right now. But
So
once
it's
they
not
move
us.
everybody, we're set up for that, but once they move everybody, we're gonna be there.
You requested the staff to go out
Yes,
15.
absolutely.
And we
Right.
did. That's
Yeah, I know that.
$6,000.
Yeah.
Now, you notice there is nobody other than those two ladies and gentlemen here complaining. You said the neighbors. Pam LeBeau went to every neighbors and knocked on doors. They're all the only two complaining. What neighbors? The street
Well-
doesn't belong to one, two people.
I'll ask them.
Well, that's why, let me hear them. What are the people?
So can we just, and I appreciate the frustration, I know it's your business, if we can just try to keep it calm so that nobody is flying off the handle, so we can try to come to some type of resolution. Before we go to the neighbors, we only put the restrictions on the auto repair shop, and that's from 8 AM to 6 PM, Monday through Saturday. And then the auto repair shop was closed on Sundays. We never did restrictions on the body shops, okay?
We do have proposed hours for you.
You do? Do you want to, can you share that with us
Yeah,
before we?
And it's not a high strike that, it's not a busy shop. Probably maybe does 2 or 3 cars a month, if that. His bread and butter is the mechanics as well as the gas. But given the neighborhood, and I do understand there's residential homes there, but on South Main Street, you also have a hospital that operates 7 days a week, 24 hours, 7 days. You have convenience stores also there that stay open. And speaking to my client, the proposed hours would be Monday through Friday, 8 AM to 8 PM, and then Saturday, Sunday, 8 AM to 5 PM.
Say that again?
Saturday and Sunday, 8 AM to 5 PM, and then Monday through Friday, 8 AM to 8 PM. And I did some research. Most of the body shops are open to 7 o'clock in the area, some 7:30. So he'd be looking to stay open to 8 because he is a 1 or 2 person shop. It takes a little longer to get the cars done.
You folks want to speak?
Yeah, just for clarification purposes, the body shop, the spray booth was erected prior to you applying for the license or getting the license, granted the license. It was, okay? It was built and prepared prior to you being issued the license. Yes, it was.
I thought you folks just said it was simultaneously, but, so I guess that in itself really, I mean, even if they put it up, they wouldn't be able to operate it without a license, so I think
Right,
that
but
in itself is.
Dan Rigo at the time said that he feared a lawsuit, so they had to grant him the license because they had spent all the money on the spray booth and everything else. That was from Dan Rico, prior city councilor. I remember that as clear as if it was yesterday, okay? The other thing is, on the onset, when they granted the license, Linda Pereira sat right here and stated that there would be restrictions on the license. It never got translated to the license. If we go back to the tape of that meeting, you'll hear this.
So I guess what I want to try to do is stay away from the past, what other
Okay,
committees
okay,
have done,
but-
just because, if you could just hold on for 1 second, just because I want to try to figure out, every single year, they've got to come back before us, so every
2
year.
years.
Every 2 years, I'm sorry. So they've got to come before us, there's got to be new regulations that are put on, or no regulations that are put on. So I guess what I'm trying to figure out is if there's a happy medium that we can work with the business and you folks to kind of work this thing out to make sure that there's mutual benefit on both sides.
Okay, Councilor Kadim, we've tried this in the past. This is already getting old. This is our third time here for the license renewal. Okay, nothing seems to work. We've had air quality alert days. They're out there spray painting, okay? Hot, humid weather. You're not living with the stack 25 feet from your backyard, okay, with this thing venting. You know, somebody's got to give us a break. Nothing has worked so far. They've increased the height of the stack. That's not working. They've made an effort to try to, you know, squash the odors. It's not working. Okay, the smell, whether it's got something in there that could harm us, I don't know, but it's just a smell. We can't even open the windows of the house when, on certain conditions, when the wind is blowing his stuff right into the house. You're not there. It's right in our backyard. Something, we need relief. Councilor Pelletier has been there. He's witnessed it. John Staskowitz, who was no longer with the city, has all the records and stuff. He's been there for an hour and a half. Pam LeBeau has been there. Okay, they've all smelt it, and they've agreed to it. Some days it's bad, some days it's not bad. Some days we don't smell it. Depends how the wind is. We need some relief, we need help.
No, and I appreciate that, so I don't want you walking away thinking that we don't appreciate the fact that you're in the backyard and you're dealing with us. I'm just trying to also, if they've got a right to operate a business, if they're meeting the EPA standards, which that's one of my questions to, I guess, to the building inspector. And I guess, do we have the documentation? I know it was forwarded over to us, I think about a year ago, 2 years ago, from Mr. Stackowitz, in terms of all the additional testing that was done, but also the EPA, there was supposed to be some additional testing for the EPA that we were supposed to be forwarded.
Okay, as far as Mr. Stackowitz's file, I cannot locate it. We have placed a call to him. He has not returned the call. I do recall reading something a while ago that said that as I recall, it said something about it was in compliance as far as the odors. I know I personally inspected that spray booth as it was being installed or implemented. We had to raise the exhaust several feet to comply with what's around it. If it was perhaps raised a little bit more, might be somewhat of a resolution. It's worked in wood stoves due to downdrafts off of current roofs from other properties and perhaps his own property. I know he's extended it from what he told me not too long ago was he extended it extensively a while back due to, I believe, Councilor Pereira's complaints. I have not looked at it recently to see how high it is, but that's a option that it perhaps could be extended another few feet to avoid any downdrafts off of surrounding buildings. That's one alternative.
So how high is the stack now?
15
15 feet from the roof?
from bottom, over the roof like 8.
8 feet over the roof? And that
We
building
had to rent a crane to put it up.
Yeah, because that building's what, 2 stories, 3s?
2 stories.
2 stories. So that's probably 28, 30 feet, roughly,
With
The
the
top.
height of 3 dimensions,
Yeah.
What would you say, 15 feet from the
15 from the first floor.
floor to the,
Yeah.
okay. Council Pelletier, you have questions?
Well, the only, Attorney Flanagan states for the owners of the business that they only do 3 or 4 cars a month. Is that true? I mean, you go 3, 4 cars a month, here we go. You're 5 days a week from 8 to 8, and then you got Saturday and Sunday, 8 to 5. You're only doing 3 cars. You probably could do 3 cars in 2 days. So,
If you had the staff to do it, possibly.
well, I mean, you say 3 to 4, and then we got 8 to 8, that's 12 hours, and 12 hours times 5 is 60 plus Saturday and Sunday. It just it doesn't add up, that's the whole thing.
Why are you trying to limit us from making a living? This is your point again.
I'm not trying to limit, you're the one that said, he said 3 or 4 cars.
I could do
No
1
problem.
car a month, but I want to open 8 to 5. I gave you an option, I cut down at 5. So I'm working with you.
8 to 5, 8 to 8, it says.
A weekdays and 8 to 5 on Sunday and Saturday.
So if we can
I'm
just,
trying to get it so everybody's happy. I don't want to put you out of business.
That's what you're trying to do.
No, 12 hours to do, how many cars? 5 days a week, that's 60
I
hours.
could do whatever the part I could do. I'm making a living. I'm not selling the drugs on Saturday, on Sunday.
I didn't say you were selling
You're
drugs.
trying to get me out of
Oh,
the business.
please,
You
okay,
don't want me
hold
to
on,
open
hold on,
Saturday, you
hold on.
don't want me to
Folks.
open
Trying to
Sunday.
get a resolution here,
folks,
that's all.
let's try to work together.
I'm
We're
just
trying-
saying, for the hours that you open,
I'm giving you Saturday and Sunday, 8 to 5. Or 8 to 8 Saturday, or
I
8 to
don't-
5.
do you know of another body shop that opens on a Sunday?
Plenty of them.
How many?
all of them, they go to the.
All of them?
I'm gonna ask the neighbors here, this summer, how many Sundays we open? If you guys call in and complain. This is my question to you. How many Sundays I open this summer? And how many holidays I open that year? If you guys have a complaint, please, let me know.
So I'm gonna
So the
allow,
whole
I'm
summer,
gonna,
I
I'm gonna,
didn't even open
hold on.
one Sunday.
Okay, so
But in my license, if you put restriction, and one Sunday, like, if I have to
And-
come
okay, I
for
understand,
them,
again,
so they're
again,
gonna call and complain. This is what I don't need.
all right, I understand,
I don't have the time every time to come here and.
I understand
like,
that, I understand your frustration.
I'm not
Again,
frustrated, trust me.
I think we are
This is my
frustrated.
voice,
And
my
then,
voice.
I know that, but what I'm trying to do is make sure that this is a back and forth that's,
Dialogue.
that's working well, okay? So I'm just gonna ask whoever has the floor, that they have the floor, and just direct the questions, if you got questions to me, and then I'll, just so we can keep it respectful, because I know there's some tension here. I will ask the question, what your concerns are, but if you could also, is there a particular time that you're concerned about? More than others, that we can try to find a resolution to
Yeah,
this? or-
I'm concerned about when I come home from work, we want to have a barbecue on the backyard of the deck, and this thing is blowing smoke. Not blowing smoke, blowing the fumes out, okay? It's a nuisance odor, all right? How can anybody, if they could, first of all, I don't agree with the weekend thing, okay? Weekends, I mean, that's when we have more time, family time in the backyard and stuff. I'm not trying to limit their business, but, if they could schedule to paint cars at a mutual agreeable hour. I mean, they can do body work all they want in there. It's the painting. The body work doesn't bother me. The mechanic work doesn't bother me. It's the painting that's bothering us. Okay? And the neighborhood, there's a lot of absentee landlords there. Okay? So these are just transient tenants that are coming in and out, and they could care less. They got their windows closed or they just don't care. All right. Not only that is they don't have a stack 25 feet from the deck, spewing out the odors. Okay. So there's a lot of variables here. We're at the brunt of this thing. Okay. If they could knock out the weekends, or run it like their repair work, knock off at a certain hour, 2:00. I think their licenses for Saturdays, or 6:00 or something. Knock it off. Knock off the Sundays. And I agree with Council Pelletier. I don't remember the last time I went to a body shop on a Sunday to have something done. I mean, they can work on the body work of the vehicle on a Sunday if they want, whatever. Just don't paint. Schedule your paint work, at a decent hour.
So would there be any issues if we mimic the restrictions that are on the repair shop? So if you did Monday through Saturday, 8 AM to 6 PM, and then closed on Sundays?
So I understand here, so his complaint is not about like, because here they says,
Discuss odors.
odors and noise, whatever.
The complaint seems to be more about the odors than the traffic and
So, let me tell you, as I asked you a question, this summer, forget about the last year, this year, did we open Sundays?
I don't recall a Sunday operation
Okay, so we
recently.
didn't open on
This past, the immediate, I don't recall it, okay? But prior years, yeah, okay, there has been.
Forget about the prior years. Now,
Okay,
we're-
all right.
But he's
From
saying
this
that
year.
he only paints 3 cars out of a month, but he's painting every day.
Well,
You're at work and he's painting on.
maybe you're not painting cars,
You
maybe
know
you're
how
painting
many
something else,
processes
but
take
we're
it out
smelling the
of
paint.
There is not a
I
problem.
smell paint every day. You was painting just today again.
You were painting this afternoon.
Yeah.
We smelled it. The windows were open, it was coming right in the house, okay? I mean, tell me no. The wind was blowing that
I
way,
didn't say no.
coming right
I
in.
painted today,
But
yeah.
we was
Okay.
nice enough one day to go ask you to come over to my property to smell the paint, and you flung your hands up in the air and said, "I'll just go tell the
You
spray
never
paint guy."
came to me, hon. You never
He
came
went
to me.
over there and asked you, him and my friend
No,
that lived in the other house, that had to move out because they couldn't stand the smell anymore.
So if we can just get back, do you have issues with mimicking the auto repair shop restrictions if they were placed on it? So it'd be Monday through Saturday, 8 AM to 6 PM, and then just closed on Sundays? That's currently what's on your license for the repairs. Would you have an issue with that?
I don't have an issue. I just like from last time we came here, Sunday I don't open. It's not like we open for business. The only thing, because I don't like to keep getting the complaints. And it's rarely to find somebody to work for you on Sundays anyway. And the whole summer we went through it, but sometimes like you're paying in a car, and if you can't finish it that day because you got to run or something, you got to just come for a couple hours to fix it. This was my concern. My concern, I'm not there on Sundays and I don't open Sundays. The only, that's whatever it's open there, it's the gas and the storage.
the concern on Sundays is because.
It's just like if we have like a couple hours to repair, but I'm not gonna come there and like 6 o'clock to do it, or like 3 o'clock, 5 o'clock at night to do it. If they're gonna come do it like 10 to 12, and this is it. Whatever I put in that schedule, just like, so you guys don't keep getting those calls with complaints, that's all. For
Sometimes
me,
what
technically,
spills
I
over.
don't, nobody's gonna be there to accept them jobs or, like, maybe somebody's gonna come pick up their car, the guys attendant will give them the car. But the point is, we're not there to just take business. We're there, if there is any small repair to do, that's fine. If not, it's not. And the whole summer, we didn't even do nothing, you know? Even if they, I can work with it. I'm not there to have bad relation with the neighbors. But from day one, they kept complaining, and that's it. Like, if somebody's gonna come complain at you every time, that's at the end you got sick of it. And when I went on the whole street and asked everybody, person by person, and nobody had problem except them, so I can't do anything. And I already spent money and everything. I can work with them if they got, but I don't know what was the noise they're talking about. If the noise is from the paint and stuff like that, I'll try to limit my paint earlier and stuff like that. So this way they don't get if they're sitting outside and stuff.
Yep.
I'll try to, and if I don't have to pay on Saturdays too, I don't pay on Saturdays. I try to schedule my paint. But
So would you be,
one day I have to, I have to, you know.
so would you be amendable to doing the restrictions similar to the auto repair?
I mean, 8 to 6 is fine.
Okay.
We have never complained about noise. Never complained about your operations. The only
City Hall
complaint,
called
the
me.
only
I didn't
complaint,
receive this letter. They called me on the phone, they said they complain about noise. That's it.
not us, not us. It must be somebody else, not us.
No, to come
The
to
only
the
issue we
city.
have,
They
I
told
don't
me
care, I don't care if you bang out fenders at midnight. It doesn't bother me. I don't want to smell your paint. That's the only complaint we have, is the smell of the paint. Okay, that gets sickening. I don't care if you operate 2 o'clock in the morning. I really don't care, because we don't hear anything.
So let me
It's a
ask you
cement
question.
wall.
8 to 6 and
We
no
don't want to
Sunday.
smell your paint.
8 to 6 and we don't hear you from now on?
Does that
Well-
work? I'll
Wait a
Let
minute,
me ask
wait a minute.
Does,
Wait a
does that work? And I appreciate the smell. Look, I lived across the street from a body shop, before it was regulated, and, they used to spray with the, garage doors open, and you used to smell it, and it was right next to the incinerator when it was burning, so there was a lot of odors in my neighborhood, so I can appreciate the frustration of coming home and constantly, smelling that. I think we have, and we've had conversations with these folks. I think they've tried to do what they can to make the adjustments necessary so that they can run their business and try to minimize some of the quality of life issues that you have. And I think this might be a good balance in terms of the quality of life issues. So if you're amendable to that, I think that might make the most sense. I mean, you don't get Sundays, and then you
Sunday
limit the.
close 8 to 6 every day.
Okay, I just have a question.
Start cooking outside at 6 o'clock at night until they close down, that's
Well,
not fair to us. When we have friends over at 5 o'clock, we're gonna have a cookout.
But they're
We
also,
can't.
they're also in a business zone, right? So that they're running a business, so we have to be fair to them as well. So we're trying to find that balance here. That's what we're trying to do.
Okay, just one question, just to clarify something. When you say open for business, does that mean open for customers, or does it mean open that
No,
you
they
can't
operate,
work
no,
on
their
a vehicle?
their operations for the body shop would be 8 AM to 6 PM.
So in other words,
After 6 PM,
they can't work on any vehicles or
Correct.
paint any vehicles and stuff, okay? After 6, it doesn't mean close business?
Mhm.
Okay. You talk about hours of operation then?
Mhm.
Yeah.
And we can be very specific in the regulations, the
You know,
restrictions. that
if
include
they
that,
could
so.
group that paint work to an earlier time of the day, that'd be ideal. Ideal, okay? Group it, schedule it, paint, Monday through Fridays only or something like that, and I suppose, but, it's, again, the stack is in our backyard, okay? I mean, you're welcome to come by and take a look at it, And it's right in the backyard, and Council Pelletier, he's
How
been
come
there.
nobody else but you?
Because nobody else probably cares.
10,000 people live neighbors to you.
How many?
10,000 people live next to you.
10,000 people live next
Go
to
get
me.
me one, what are they?
Okay. I think we're getting close to a resolution, so I'm trying not to.
Okay,
not to
once
create
again,
hostility.
the majority of the people are transient people there, okay?
Really?
Yeah, the Brown House across from the funeral home, that's all housing for the Catholic, social services and stuff. Those are transients. They're not there for more than 3 months, 2 months. They don't care.
They're closest to me than your house.
They all moved out.
They all moved out,
Okay.
okay? The owner doesn't even live there.
Oh, yeah.
The owner doesn't,
Stop.
And
Okay,
those are
okay,
my
okay.
friends.
All right.
the owner
I've
doesn't.
asked about 5 times now, so I really want to
Okay.
have this dialogue. If not, I'm just going to ask everybody to leave the table, and then Councilor Pelletier and I will continue to conduct this subcommittee by ourselves. So please, okay, I am trying to find a balance between a business that is has the legal right to operate their business in a location that they have. They have not exceeded any type of EPA, at least not to my knowledge, restrictions that are put on for body shops. We're also trying to work with you. We understand the quality of life issue that you have with the odors, and so I'm trying to address that to the best of my ability. So the personal attacks are not really beneficial to anybody, so again.
Council Cadini, you
Yep.
did propose Monday through Friday, 8 AM to 6 PM. I'm sorry, that Monday through Saturday, 8 AM to 6 PM. Council Pelletier suggested being closed on the Lord's Day, Sunday. I believe my clients would be acceptable to that. You gotta understand too, it is a business district, and I'm not hearing the complaint being traffic and volume, I'm hearing the complaint being smell and odors. And no matter what time you paint, you're gonna have smell and odors. If you can limit it, no orders on Sundays and no orders after 6 o'clock, I think that's a medium for everybody. Not everybody's happy, but, everybody gets a say.
Is there anything else that can be done to curtail the odors, filters, or some type of, process?
That's the one.
I remember at the beginning of this, you said, quote, "You're not gonna smell no paint." Well, yeah, we're not gonna smell no paint, we are smelling paint.
Only one couple,
What, I'm sorry?
only one couple smell paint.
Yep.
Again,
Okay.
This lady right here voted no.
Okay,
Yeah,
all
Want to
right.
read it, Lil?
Applicable.
She couldn't make it here, today due to illness, okay, but lives across the street at 230 Osborne.
I can read.
Her last name?
Cipriano is,
Cipriano?
yeah, she's,
Sedalia Cipriano, is that?
yes.
230 Osborne Street, for the record. Was unable to attend the meeting, still smelling fumes from paint operations at JZ Auto, 969 South Main Street. Relief is requested of some form. So,
I asked the neighbor on the same building, on the third floor, and they don't smell anything. So,
the reality of the
the
situation
same
is
thing,
that,
because I went there myself, I just need to know
Right.
if there is a smell or no smell.
and I appreciate that. The reality of the situation is that we never can make everybody happy. What we try to do is
Not a problem.
try to make the
We go with the.
most people happy that we possibly can and strike that balance that we possibly can. I don't know if Council Pelletier has any.
Well, if we don't smell paint, we'll be happy.
Council Pelletier?
All right, just to set the record straight, I'm not against you. I'm not against your business, and I have no problem with you. I do have problems when I gotta go down there, 4, 5, 6 times, whenever I went, as much as 10. So let's set that on the table. I like the small compromise. They don't like it, but at least you got your closing Sunday, and 8 to 6, we can try it. And I would ask right now, the fire chief, if you got anything to add to this.
We've inspected that place, August 2019, and they were in compliance with everything. All the permits were fine. They had 3 minor violations, portable extinguishers, the suppression system wasn't inspected. That's all been done. They're building a storage room. That's also gonna have a suppression system in it. We spoke to the company that's installing it, and right now, it's like maybe 2 weeks away because they're waiting on parts. So, as far as we're concerned, on a fire safety point, they've complied with everything.
And I would ask, how many cars can, the spray booth, was it one car?
One
at a
car.
time? That's it. So you got one booth, one car at a time.
You only could take it, if you paint in a red door, you only can take the door. You
Yeah.
don't take the car in, you take the door.
Yeah, all right, I don't,
So the whole booth's open for one part of the car.
I'm not a painter, I used to be a cook.
Yeah.
So I don't know about all the body, how to paint, or whatever the
Yeah,
case
but I
may
mean, it
be.
only fit one car.
He
You know?
threw everything in the pan.
And,
Paella.
and the only other thing I'd say, and you probably not would want to do it, building inspecting thinks maybe go up a couple more feet, but I know you spent a lot of money already, and I don't know if that's the case, it's good or bad. In prior years, I see some of the auto body that would have a vent going out and then goes in like a barrel of water. I don't know what the purpose is. I don't know what that does, but you ever heard of that? Well, they'd have a thing and around, and there's a bucket, there's a 50-gallon bucket of water. I don't know what it does, so I guess you don't know about it. I've seen it done, but I don't know what happens anyway. But to the building inspector, you know, is it high enough, or you think it would work?
A couple of years ago, it was high enough per code. However, when you experience situations like this, you may be getting a downdraft from a adjacent piece of property, which is causing these people to get the odors on the ground due to surrounding roofs. If perhaps they've informed me that they increased the height due to Councilor Pereira's request a year ago or two, in regards to these complaints. So, I don't know where it is in relation to the ridge of their building or adjacent buildings. As a suggestion, sometimes if you go higher than the existing ridges around the adjacent properties, you don't get these downdrafts that could be happening here. I'm not saying that's what's happening, but it's a possibility. And one of the outcomes would be to raise it up above the surrounding ridges, not to the 3-family, because that wouldn't be cost effective for anybody. But if they were to raise it up, maybe they could go back to normal business hours someday if they decide to do that, or restrict their hours. But that's a suggestion. By code, it's completely compliant, the last time I was there.
Let me just throw this out. He's got the stack. You're talking downdraft coming down, right?
Well, prevailing winds off of.
Okay.
Prevailing winds off of, go ahead.
All right, so he's got it straight, draft is coming down. But if he puts an elbow right on top, that don't wet, the draft's still gonna go in?
So
All right,
what's,
good idea.
if you look at a wood stove, some people experience this is the same situation
Yeah.
in wood stoves. So they come up on the gutter side of the house,
Okay.
okay, as an example. And I use the gutter side because the ridge is up here and the gutter's down here.
Yeah.
Okay, well, the neighbor next door gets all the wind from the wood stove, okay, because the ridge, the wind comes over the ridge, comes down, follows the roof, and blows it towards their house, okay? That's the downdraft that you get,
Okay.
where it is in relation to the ridge and surrounding properties. So if you were to raise the height of the pipe, which they have done, if you raise it more, you may eliminate it. I haven't looked at this, I wasn't aware that Linda and them had agreed to raise the pipe
Yeah.
even more than code requested. So if this is anywhere next to surrounding properties that have roofs, such as even his own roof could be causing a downdraft,
All right,
okay?
we're getting the education here today.
No, there's no guarantee, no.
All right,
It also depends on the swirl of the wind. There's times they're painting, we don't smell anything because the wind is blowing south. You know, and sometimes the wind is calm, but it swirls occasionally, and a downdraft is the way I could explain it. It just comes right down into us. Other times, we don't smell it. They're painting, we hear the blower running, but we don't smell it.
Those humidity in the air plays a major factor in this.
Correct.
In the paint fumes.
The heavier, right.
Coming
I got
down.
all that.
And obviously, I haven't looked at this in some time, but my guess is that there is a prevailing wind from adjacent roofs, adjacent buildings, that's causing this to come down a little more frequently.
Shear effect, like an aircraft.
Yep.
Yeah, I got it. I got that.
I'd like to make a motion that we go 8 to 6.
For operations, which includes
Yeah,
painting.
I'm trying to, just hang on. That Saturday, 8 to 5, you know what? You'd rather have 8 to 6? Yep,
Because let me tell you something, sometimes once you bake the car.
okay. Now, if you don't want, I'll do
finish
8 to
painting-
6.
No, let me tell you. Maybe we're not gonna be there, but let me tell you. If you finish the car by 5 o'clock and you have to bake it,
Yeah.
so you still having that fan
Okay,
blowing.
all right,
So
no
this
problem.
way, there is no like, okay,
All right,
and let me tell you, I'm gonna try to work with them, and if I don't have to paint on Saturday, I even don't paint. But I don't
All right.
wanna say, you know, that 100%. It depends, this is a business,
Okay.
I don't know what I'm gonna get, or
all right. I think this best we're gonna do 8 to 6, Monday through Saturday, no Sundays, and we'll try that,
And just for clarification, that's for the operation, which includes painting,
painting
just to cover your concern. Okay.
and auto repair.
Thank you.
Auto repairs there, right?
There was
I
a,
don't have a problem with it.
there was a motion that was made by Councilor Pelletier, seconded by myself. Further discussion? Seeing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? So voted. Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you. So, thank you.
Thank you.
So Councilor Pelletier, if we can lift,
Motion adjourned.
motion to lift from the table item number 4, and then
Oh,
just
we got
grant
number
leave,
4?
grant leave to withdraw.
All right, motion to take it off the table. Item number 4,
Thank you.
Motion to lift item number 4 from the table was made by Councilor Pelletier, seconded by Councilor Kadim. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So voted. Motion to grant leave to withdraw.
yeah, motion made.
Motion was made by Councilor Pelletier, seconded by myself. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So voted. Motion carries.
Motion adjourned.
Motion adjourned was made by Councilor Pelletier, seconded by myself. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So voted. Motion carries. Committee on Regulation is now adjourned.